Ladies and gentle giants from around the world, my name is Dr. Tufnar. It's already foggy in here, and welcome to the Brief Vapes channel, where, in a briefer summary as possible, I try to tell you why or why you shouldn't buy a particular piece of vaping gear. Just bear with me one moment while I fill up this damn thing, which is, apologies, which is probably something I should have done prior to the review. But I'm going to do it now anyway. Because freeform reviewing is my style, and I hope it comes across as more charming than unprofessional. Doesn't, but there we go. This is my review of the Vandy Vapes Govad RTA. I have to apologise also for the very, very, very poor lighting in this video, and in every video generally. As I said, unprofessional. The Govad RTA by Vandy Vapes. This is it right here in gold. Quite a lovely shiny gold. I think it's just gold plated. It's obviously not solid gold because the thing cost me about 20 quid. Quite a nice looking tank. What is it, more importantly? It is a single coil RTA, much in the same vein as something like the Pharaoh RTA by Geek Vape, I think. Yep. And the Amit single coil 25? I don't know. I think it's 24 or 25. One of the two, you'll tell me in the comments, hopefully. And that's basically all it is. It is a single coil RTA. And it's pretty good. We're not going to end the review there, though. I'm going to start by, as is the same with all of my videos, describing a tank. Go from the bottom of the tank to the top of the tank. This is Brief Vapes. If you're new to the channel, I don't go into any lengths. I don't break the tank down. This is just literally a different style of review to what you're probably used to. So let's get going. In fact, I'm not going to do the autofocus. I'm just going to talk about it. We have the base, a nice protruding 510 connection surrounded by a piece of PEEK, I believe, which is very good. Good for your hybrid use if you're so inclined to use RTAs on a hybrid thing. I don't know what you would want to, but you can if you want. We've got two slices of the Cyclops style airflow, which is extremely airy. It is much like the Kylin, and in fact this tank is basically the sibling to the Kylin RTA from Vandy Vapes. Very airy. It's so airy, in fact, and I like an airy draw, I have to close it by at least a quarter to a third. The build deck itself is much like the Kylin or the Amit. You have the bottom airflow, which comes up directly under the coils and hits them directly, producing very good flavour. And you have these sloped side airflows which hit the top of the coil or the mid of the coil, depending on how you build. For this one particularly, it hits the side of the coil and they go straight up. All in all, much like the Kylin, which is probably my favourite dual coil RTA, certainly one for everyday use. And this doesn't really disappoint. I think the Kylin, like I've said, is still, though I haven't reviewed it, I still think it's my favourite RTA, despite all of the little niggles it has, especially with the first generation of those Kylins, which had a massive leaking issue, but we won't go into that here. This doesn't suffer from that, which I'm very thankful to say. Open this airflow up a little bit. So good, so good. Oh, I haven't finished yet. So we've got the, let me just close this down. We've got the kidney-style fill ports, two on each side. I won't show you. You know what they're like. They're pretty much on every RTA now, apart from the first edition Kylin, which was a big problem. And then, I've got some juice around the rim here. And then we've got the 810. I think it's an 810. The Goon style. It definitely is an 810, but I'm going to take it off anyway. I can't. It's an 810 Goon style, so if you've got any Goon style drip tips, these will fit perfectly onto here. And yeah, I think it's a really, really good single coil RTA. I'm not so inclined to use single coils every day as I am dual coils. I prefer the big warm hit of dense, cloudy vapour. Flavourful, more flavourful for me than any single coil I've ever tried. But this is great just for something that you want to... It can be a little bit too complicated and annoying to have to drag around, and not drag around, but build on a dual coil. Say if you're out of your home and you're taking a little spares kit or something, and you've got to get both coils burning at the same rate and wicking at the same rate, and something, you know, for someone who's perhaps not as inclined to build fantastic coils every single time, and wick especially great, like me, a single coil is often the better choice, even though I prefer to slug around with it. But it's just, you know, just putting it out there for people who perhaps feel that way. Let's get quickly onto the pros and the cons, because as I said, this is Brief Vapes, we do things very fast here. The cons. Wicking can be a bit of an issue with this thing. I've seen from certain reviewers, and I've looked in the comments section, as I do before pretty much every single one of these things. When I buy my products, I like to know what people think of them. That's the general vaping community as well as specific reviewers. People have been having a lot of issues with wicking this thing, and not so much the fact that it's more when they're chain vaping, which I'm not one to do. I'm not a chain vaper, but I can appreciate that a lot of people are, and good wick speed is inherently important for obviously chain vaping. And even I've wicked this thing at least 10 or 15 times now, and I can't quite find a method which draws juice up from the channels fast enough to provide good chain vape. So by the third one there, starting to get a little bit dry, not losing lots of flavour, but it's starting to go on the decline. And that was a fast food chain vape, so I'm just imitating what I think people who chain vape probably do it like. It's already very foggy in here. It's remained so throughout the video, pretty much. What else negative? I like the build quality of Carlin stuff, but it feels ever so slightly too under-designed. So, for instance, it has juice flow control, but it's the juice flow control that's attached to, basically, it's a free-running juice flow control. So if you were to turn it all the way around, you would eventually unscrew the whole chimney section and juice would pour everywhere. So if you're not paying attention, that's a bit of an issue. And I prefer the free-flowing standalone. I would prefer to hold something at the base and twist it to get the juice flow control. If I said airflow, I meant juice flow. To adjust it, that's just what I prefer. But again, it's a niggling issue. That isn't particularly a massive con. That's about it, really. If we were talking about the Carlin, there'd be more issues, but we're not. We're talking about the Govad, which is his younger brother. Sorry, I keep referencing the Carlin. It's because it's so like it in so many ways, including, onto the pros, the fantastic flavour. I like the Amit and the Carlin, the Amit and the Pharaoh, tanks from Geek Vape. But they don't quite hit the flavour mark for me. It's something about the way the airflow is designed or the wicking ports are designed. I can't, like we know, anybody who's been vaping for a long time and has been fiddling around with builds for a very long time, it's so, the slightest degree in up or down of those side slanted airflows can make the biggest difference in the world. Like, it's a matter of very tiny degrees, build decks are, and it can make a huge difference to flavour and airflow and just the general experience of a good vape. Vandy Vape has pretty much nailed it with every single tank, I think. The airflow is very, very smooth. The way the airflow hits the coil produces fantastic flavour. It's just a really, really nice, rich, deep flavour you get from these sorts of RTAs from Carlin, and it's something I can only really compare to the Peachtree. It's a very, very solid, smooth airflow that produces great flavour, and that's as simple as that, really. Building on it, Postless decks, as you've seen in my previous videos, I love Postless decks. They're my favourite decks in the world to build on, and thankfully we're moving away from that side screwing in thing where you have to bend your posts 90 degrees. Bend the legs of your coils 90 degrees before you put them in the post holes and screw it in. Now we've got them on facing forward, or a clamp style system which is used here, so it's even more simple, very much like the Pharaoh, I think, which uses it, and I can't remember about the Amit because I've never owned one. I've only ever used a friend's. Just fantastic. It's a very, very simple system. You could probably even maybe I was going to say you could probably use a dual core system in here, but it would be very fiddly, and I imagine getting them to glow evenly would be even more difficult. But this is a single coil RTA, so we'll talk about it as such. And that's pretty much it. Everything else about it I really like. I like the design of it. I like the colour options. You get a rainbow, you get a black, you get a silver, and you get a gold, which is nice. I don't like the rainbow colours. I think they're horrible. But that's a trend I'd like to see vanish. I'd rather us have some more variable options in colour than just a rainbow. But some people love them. That's just my personal opinion. I need some new batteries in this hexome. I'm going to have to sort this out after the video. Thank you very much for watching, guys. That's all I've got to say about the Govad, really. It gets the absolute go-ahead from me. If you're an inexperienced vaper, it gets the go-ahead, and if you're an advanced vaper, it gets the go-ahead, because it produces, from simplicity is born this fantastic vape, and Vandy Vape to me is proving it every single time. I've used the RDA in passing, and I really like that, and the design principles follow through to this one, and I think it's fantastic. I think it's a really, really, really solid tank, and it's going to be my daily carry until the next great flavour tank, really. I'm switching between this and the Captain at the moment, but for general carries, I'll stick with this, I think, for now. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Just remember, this is just my opinion, and it means sod all. But yeah, check other reviewers out, and you know, because that's what you should do. Don't just go on my opinion alone. So thank you very much for watching. I'll leave you with a vape, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.